Hello, everyone. Joe DeCharis, CPA extraordinaire, coming to you live from downtown Los Lunas, New Mexico. I almost forgot what state I'm in. And yes, I am in, if you see my surroundings here, I am in the world famous Suzuki warehouse. This is where all the magic happens. If you go to Suzuki.com, it's an Etsy store. It's my mom's business, and I'm proud to say my mom is 83, still still creating stuff. She's a real inspiration to me, and hopefully a lot of other people out there. It just proves that you're never too old to keep creating, keep making money. And she's where I got my entrepreneurial genes from. I saw her from an early age, and one day I woke up and I realized, I said, "Oh my God, it's her fault. It's all mom's fault." But anyway, good morning to my friends in the Philippines. Uh, Good evening to people on the continental U.S. or wherever else you are. This is the first broadcast on this topic, which has become my new obsession, the new thing that I can't stop thinking about when I wake up in the morning until I go to sleep at night. Believe it or not, uh, it's a productive, positive obsession, but it's still an obsession. And if you're an entrepreneur, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Uh, it's all about training individuals in the Philippines on how to become an enrolled agent. Uh, why the Philippines? I have no idea, to be honest with you. I can go into all the reasons I think. All I could tell you is this is where God brought me. If you're not in the Philippines, I mean, you could still become an enrolled agent. One of the biggest discoveries that I've made on this interesting journey is that you don't have to be a U.S. citizen to become an enrolled agent. But let me back up. Let me back up for a second. If you're watching, I assume that you know me. You know who I am. If you don't, you just do some internet searches. Uh, and I am a CPA, over 40 years experience. I'm on my fourth different type of accounting business. It's called Bedrock Business Builders. And we have a team in the Philippines, a growing, dedicated, professional, excellent team of accountants, all working from the Philippines. And I don't want to get into the whole story. We can get into that at some other point about how I wound up halfway around the world to try to service local small businesses in the United States. So if you don't think this is God's work, I don't know what is. But anyway, so we started teaching, basic accounting and tax preparation to people in the Philippines last year. And the question was posed to us, do you have to be a U.S. citizen? Nobody ever asked me that before, and there was no reason to find out. And we did some research, and lo and behold, you don't, not only do you not have to be a U.S. citizen, you don't ever even have to set foot in the United States, ever. Okay. Not only that, you don't even need a high school education. You don't need a college degree. Okay. Those are the things you don't need. Okay. Uh, you do have to jump through hoops. You have to pass a suitability test. They're not going to let anybody become an enrolled agent. Okay. You have to pass a very hard test. But again, let me back up. I don't want to assume that anybody actually knows what an enrolled agent really is. And even people know about the enrolled agent designation, don't always know exactly who they are, what they're capable of doing, uh, and and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this. And I'll get into, the whole, uh, topic of the shortage of enrolled agents, why that is, what enrolled agents do that CPAs don't do, what CPAs do that enrolled agents don't do, and the clear differences between the different professions, and not only that, tax attorneys. Okay, so we can all CPAs, enrolled agents, and tax attorneys are all licensed and able to uh, deal directly with the IRS on behalf of a client, businesses, individuals, anywhere in the United States. Okay, any kind of business, any kind of tax return, you can get a power of attorney from your client. And what that means, when you get a power of attorney, the IRS is not even supposed to be discussing the issue with the client. Okay, it's not as powerful as being an attorney and having an attorney-client privilege. Okay, but it's an unwritten rule that the IRS will not. They will correspond with the client, but they're supposed to directly deal with the uh, power of attorney, the person that's designated on the power of attorney. So obviously, if you become an attorney, there's hoops you have to jump through. You have to get a 4-year degree. You have to go to law school. You have to pass an exam. And then you get licensed by the state that you're doing your law practicing. Wherever you're practicing law, that's where you have to be licensed. So if you're, licensed in New York, you can't go to New Jersey and practice law. You'd have to go to New Jersey and say, I want to be licensed here as well. And you can do that. You could be licensed in multiple states. My son is licensed in New York and in South Carolina because he moved down to South Carolina. Now he could keep his New York license, but that's just, the licensing, the professional designation. Now, an attorney can handle tax issues all over the country. Okay, that's one thing. It's not state specific. It's federal specific. And don't ask me why, that's just the way it is. They've said they decided that attorneys have the credentials, have the experience, the knowledge to represent business owners and individuals. Okay, and now CPAs are also licensed at the state level. Okay, so again, I don't want to, there's people, and hello, good morning, all of you early risers. I know it's like 6 a.m. in the Philippines, so I have a lot of respect for anyone that's watching us live. And if you are watching live, give me a hashtag live. And if you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. And I'll tell you why that's powerful. You could ask questions, and I do encourage anybody to post questions in the chat. I am watching for comments right now, so if you have any questions, just post them there. Also, if if you're watching the replay and you have questions, post them in there, because this is what happens with Facebook. One of the great things about technology. When you post a question, even if it's on the replay, I get the question, and so does everybody else that posted, the Facebook Live or the Facebook replay. So if you want to stay in the loop, put in hashtag replay. Okay, only if you want to be in the loop. And you'd be surprised, people ask questions. Like I said, the only reason why I'm even doing this enrolled agent program is because one of our students asked a simple question. Okay, so don't ever be afraid to ask questions. Questions are good. And I guarantee you, if you have a question, somebody, a lot of other people probably have the same question. So also don't think that it's a silly question. Uh, don't go to Chat GPT and ask the question. It's, I just got an article that said 100% of the tax questions they asked the Chat GPT were wrong. So don't get into that mix. And Aisha has uh, okay, there's a couple of questions already. I love this. Yeah, you don't have to be an accountant. That's one of the great things about being an enrolled agent. You don't have to have a college education. You don't need to have any education. You could be self-taught. You don't need any kind of degrees, any kind of special training before going in. All you got to do, you got to pass the suitability test, and you have to pass a three-part exam, which is a very hard exam, and that's a good thing. And I'll explain why, because it vets out the pretenders. It takes a lot of knowledge and experience to deal with the IRS, and not only the IRS. Let me point out, when you're an enrolled agent, you could represent not only people all over the United States, but people in every state and city locality. Okay, so that's a pretty wide market. It's a pretty wide net of a market that we can deal with. Uh, Also, so last but not least, so the CPA has to have a 4-year degree. Also, pass a hard test. Also, you have to have a certain amount of experience. When I got my license, I needed 2 years of auditing experience. And that's one of the big differences between what an enrolled agent does and what a CPA does. So, CPAs, that stands for Certified Public Accountant, you have a license to issue certified financial statements. That's what the certification is for. Okay. To be honest with you, there's very little tax knowledge required to become a CPA. Now, I got a lot of tax knowledge because that's what I loved. I got very little auditing experience. I didn't like doing auditing. In fact, it took me 5 years to get 2 years worth of enough auditing experience to get my CPA license. So I had passed the test. 3 of the 4 parts I passed the first time. The fourth one I passed on the second try. So I had the test passed. I just needed the experience. So that's sort of like the reverse of people. But now, once I had that license, I could, and I did issue. I was in the business. I was doing, one of my first CPA practice. I did financial reports. I did certifications. I did review financial statements, and my clients used those to get bank loans, to keep bank loans, and whatever it was, not for profits that needed certifications. I was able to do that. Now they've upped, and this is another good thing. All the IRS and all the state governments have they've raised the bar on who could do this work, who can issue certified financial reports. Primarily because it goes back to the Enron debacle, where a big company was falsifying certified statements, and there was a whole issue about you can't be the business advisor and certify their financial statements. It's a conflict of interest. That's what it is really. So now you have to get peer reviewed. So not only do you have to be a CPA, you have to have another firm come in and audit you on how you do your financial reports. Now, I've never gone through that peer review, uh, basically because I don't want to do any more financial statements. So I stopped doing financial statements. If a client needs a certified or reviewed financial report, I will send them to another account. Okay. So that's a very important point. So just keep in mind that whole certified public accounting designation has nothing at all to do with taxes. So there are CPAs that know nothing about taxes. There's very, very little on the CPA exam about tax law. In fact, I don't even remember if there was anything about taxes on the CPA exam, to be honest with you. It was so long ago, I don't remember. But so, in fact, I remember working with, when I first started, I was working with a CPA who worked for a private company, investment banking company. And he was a CPA and he hated doing taxes. And I didn't get that at the time, but he didn't like doing taxes. My cousin is a CPA, and I've been doing his tax returns for. In fact, I think he's one of my longest going clients. I've been doing his taxes for over 35 years, from before he was even a CPA. But the point is, the general public uh, equates, oh, I need a good CPA to do my taxes. Well, that's a misnomer. There's plenty of bad CPAs out there. And when I say bad, I mean they really don't know anything about taxes. A lot of them might be doing taxes, but they haven't, gotten the proper experience. Okay. And I'm telling you that based on my 40 years of experience. Some of the work, the returns, the botched tax returns, and mistakes that I see coming from new clients. Okay. So just because you're a CPA doesn't mean you're good at taxes. Attorneys, now they have to take more courses to be designated as a tax attorney, I guess. But any attorney could still, handle taxes. So CPAs and attorneys aren't necessarily tax experts. That's the point. And they're designated at the state level, not the national level. Now, an enrolled agent is totally different. So okay, and I skipped over before I get into that. I want to answer the other question about being a non-accountant. Uh, so somebody, and this is an issue, and we're actually working on this. I was wondering if the EA exam will soon be held in the Philippines, and I'm really glad that you asked that, because when I get done with this, yes, it will be offered, and I'll tell you why. It was offered before COVID. There was a place in Manila you can go and take the enrolled agent exam. Okay, it's done. There's three parts. I think they're done. Each one is done each year. So in 1 year, you could take all three parts. I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that. But once COVID hit, they weren't doing testing anywhere. I think they closed all the testing centers down. It's not a test you can do online. You got to do it at a physical location. And so what we found out is one of our team members actually went to the testing site and said, "Why aren't you doing the enrolled agent test anymore?" And they said, simply because the IRS hasn't sent it to them. Now, it's not on the IRS's radar, and I'll tell you why. There's 68,000 enrolled agents today registered with the IRS. How do I know that? Because you can go right to the IRS site and find every single active enrolled agent, their name, address. It's a pretty powerful thing if you're looking for uh, somebody that can help you with your taxes. Okay. Also, the IRS, will give you ways, and I'm only saying this if you're a regular person watching this, a business owner, you can go to the IRS site and you can find accountants a lot of different ways, local accountants, uh, and that's all on the IRS site. Anyway, so what the difference? So getting back to, I'm sorry, I'll go off on tangents sometimes, but they stopped doing the enrolled agent exam basically because there's only 20 Philippine enrolled agents. Now, the fact that there's 20 is amazing to me. In fact, tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., it'll be 6 p.m. your time, Saturday, if you're in the Philippines. I'll be interviewing one of the 20 enrolled agents in the Philippines. I'm really looking forward to that because it'll be the first time I'm going to actually speak to somebody that's gone through the hoops and is an active enrolled agent. Now, with the exam, so there's 20 Philippine agents. When I get done in the next year, we're hoping to more than double that. Okay, and the way that we're going to bring the test back to the Philippines is we're going to let the IRS know, and we're going to let the test center know that we have a bunch of people that want to take the test there. Now, our first free webinar on launching the enrolled agent program, over 600 people registered for the webinar. We had almost 300 people attend the live event. Now, if you know anything about marketing, you know you don't get 50% of the people show up for the live event. You usually get maybe 20%. The rest maybe a lot of people will watch the replay simply because people may not be available during the time that it's live. So there is a huge, huge demand for, first of all, there's a huge demand for enrolled agents. And I'll tell you why that is right now. But there's a big growing demand for individuals in the Philippines to launch out in the freelancing world, to become tax preparers, accountants, whatever, CFOs. You, the sky's the limit. You know, now I know all about the accounting business, so that's what I focus on. The only reason why they're not, focusing on becoming enrolled agents is because who knew that if you were a Filipino that you could become an enrolled agent? Who knew that that was even an opportunity until now? Well, obviously the 20 Philippine enrolled agents knew about it, but it's been a very well kept secret as far as I'm concerned. Uh, Again, that has to do more with how our government is run, how the accounting industry is handled, and where we are right now, and what the perfect storm of opportunity is for you if you're one of those people. And I thank you, Aisha, for that question about, because that was one of the things I was thinking about last night. I said, there's really not, we could actually take somebody that's never done bookkeeping and train them on how to become an enrolled agent. That would be very, very powerful. In fact, that's going to be one of my goals, is to find somebody, even somebody older. So if you're 60, 70, even 80, and you want to give it a shot, let me know, and we'll see if we can get you a free scholarship somehow. But we want to make people enrolled agents because that's going to empower people. And there's an ulterior motive. I started out here with Bedrock Business Builders with the desire to help the 26 million sole proprietors, the smallest of small businesses, with their taxes, because the U.S. system is too complex, and people make mistakes, and small businesses pay the biggest price. The people that can least afford it. So that's why we launched Bedrock Business Builders. It was with the intention on serving that specific market. Like I said, uh, the journey led me to the Philippines, and then it led me to doing classes, and that led me to doing the enrolled agent program. But the original focus on helping small U.S. business owners never changed. That's still the underlying principle. But to be able to help individuals in the Philippines, that's just, that's a big added benefit for me and my team. So it's very, very exciting for me, not only as an entrepreneur, but also, it's exciting for my team, because they're saying, and all of my team, that we have 7 full-time accountants now, and 4 interns, and I know that my full-time people are all going to take the test, and I'm going to take the test. I'm taking the enrolled agent exam, simply for the experience. I want to. It's the challenge, and so that I could actually be I could be one of the students, and I could be one of the pioneers with all of the people that are enrolled in our course. And if you want to know about the course, I'm posting a link to the information. Okay. But let me explain now why this is a great opportunity. If you think about it, first of all, it's something that if you're already an accountant, if you already have some tax background, if you're already a bookkeeper, okay, if you have that, you use that side of your brain, this might be a logical, uh, next step for you. Okay. But you could actually be somebody with zero experience, zero bookkeeping knowledge, no education, only a desire. All you need is the desire to try it. Okay. Uh, there's no guarantee that you're going to succeed, but just the fact that you're trying will add credibility to your business. You're seeking jobs, only because people like to hire individuals that are trying to improve themselves. That's one of the secrets about landing jobs, landing clients. People are attracted to people that are constantly growing. Why? Because it's the laws of attraction. They want to be around people that are trying to be more successful. Okay, that's just common sense. Okay, but so the perfect storm of opportunity. I have to get my thoughts here again, because now I got to backtrack. Going back 40 years, but it's happened over decades. From when I was, when I became an accountant, accounting was the profession. In other words, if you became an accountant, you could become anything. You could get any kind of job in the business world because you had financial experience. Well, computers changed all that. The internet changed all that. The accounting profession's poor treatment of their accountants. Okay, when you become an accountant, it wasn't high pay; it was medium range pay. You had to put in a lot of hours, needed a lot of experience, uh, and that's hard to ask somebody to do coming out of school. So imagine you're a young person, you want to launch your career, and you're asked to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week for, peanuts, basically. When I started my first job, I was making $250 a week, $1,000 a month. Okay. I could barely, afford to pay rent. I had to live with three of my former college buddies just to pay rent. That's what it was like to become an accountant. So who wants to do that? Not when you can become a computer engineer, a programmer, a web designer, and make, a lot more money and have more freedom. So little by little, less people became accountants. Okay, so there's a smaller pool of professionals. Meanwhile, the number of businesses, which is at 30 million businesses right now, that keeps expanding. So think about it. There's more businesses that need accountants, and there's less accountants. So one day somebody woke up and say, "Hey, we have a problem here. We have a big problem here." And digging even deeper, what I found out was out of the 30 million businesses, 26 million can hardly even afford an accountant. Forget about finding one. Why? Because there's less accountants. It's easy to get clients as an accountant if you know how to do it, because there's so many of them out there, and there's more and more all the time. Also, our government is making it better for accountants, people that want to get into the accounting business. Why? They're making everything more and more complicated. They're making it harder to cheat. So out of 26 million people that are trying to fly under the radar aren't flying under the radar anymore. So there's going to be millions of people over the next couple of years that are going to be vetted. They're going to come to the surface. They're people that have not filed tax returns in years. We get them as clients all the time. We're getting clients that haven't filed returns, business returns. They set up LLCs. They never filed anything. So we're getting them all the time, and it's only going to snowball. There's going to be more and more of them. So that's why I call it the perfect storm of opportunity. I could see all of these forces coming into play. Also the fact that COVID made business owners accept hiring people that they normally would never hire. Okay, people have to know, like, and trust you. Well, it's hard to do that if you never physically meet somebody. Okay, it's one of the barriers that you have to get over if you're going to be doing remote work. Well, now it's the norm. Now it's normal. So, that's my story for now. That this is the first live. I'll be doing this every week. I'm looking forward to it. We'll be covering different aspects of being an enrolled agent. We'll be talking to people that were saved by enrolled agents. So, in a nutshell, an enrolled agent, when you're getting an enrolled agent, you're getting somebody that is a tax expert. Okay, they had an enrolled agent can only become an enrolled agent if they have a thorough knowledge of the tax code for individuals and for businesses, and a strong working knowledge of how the system works. Okay. You don't need that to become an attorney. You don't need that to become a CPA. So when people ask me, so I've had friends say, I need a new accountant, and they're not going to hire me because we want to stay friends. So and I always say, find an enrolled agent, find a good enrolled agent, because they will help you with your taxes. Okay. If you need somebody to, do financial reports, you're going to need a CPA for that. But if you want somebody to handle your taxes, you want an enrolled agent. Okay, folks. So thank you for following. I appreciate your support. Like I said, if you have any questions, you could reach out to me directly. My our website is here, bedrockbusinessbuilders.com. We have a lot of information. If you want to find out more about the enrolled agent program, I put the link in the chat there. Also, you could support us by finding us on YouTube and subscribing to our channel, because we always put a lot of information up there, just like this video will be up on the YouTube channel. All right, so God bless, thank you, and have a great weekend.